This is James Wan's return to horror. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I am talking about *Malignant*, directed by James Wan and starring Annabelle Wallis. Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murderers, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities. That's pretty much all I want to say without getting into any spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review. First off, I gotta say, this movie, it's I've never seen anything like it. It is super unique in a way. I mean, it does follow the James Wan things, you know. It does feel like Saw at times, because there is an investigation throughout the movie. It feels like Saw. It looks a lot like The Conjuring and Insidious and those type of movies. So it has that feel, but this movie, it's super, super unique, and that's one thing I really did like about it. I've never seen anything like this before in my entire life. Annabelle Wallis as Madison, she did very well for the most part throughout the movie. Honestly, the acting, a lot of the acting is pretty good. Some of it, I'll get into it later with my negatives. Some of it's a little iffy. I love the practical effects throughout this movie. There is quite a few practical effects used in this movie, and that was, I personally love it. I love it. And there is a few times where the CGI does look okay for the most of the movie. Speaking of the CGI, when they do use the CGI, I like how they made it the scene very dark, so the CGI looked great because it was dark. I love that use of darkness. I always do. In this movie, it's no exception. This movie, it perfectly uses the darkness to make the CGI just look so realistic. It does look a lot like The Conjuring, and it looks a lot like Insidious. It has those, and the camera movement throughout the movie, and have the quickness and the going up real quick. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying, like how it goes. It goes in real fast, and the camera moves real quickly to somebody when it's scary, when the score hits real high, and it's just perfect camera work throughout this movie. Some of the best camera work I've seen all year. There is a scene, and I kind of wish they would have utilized this a little bit more. There is a scene where she goes through her entire house, and the camera's like on top of the house. You know, I love when they do that in movies, and she's walking through the house, and you just see every room as you go. I really love that. Honestly, wish they would have used that a little bit more in this movie. I do like the score of this movie. It does have a very nice score, and it works for the most part. There is times in the movie where I was like, you know, some of the noise, they kept using the same very loud noise, and I felt like in the beginning of the movie, some other parts throughout the movie, it felt really, really good and really perfectly placed, but it was just, other times it wasn't the greatest. I love, I love how you see her as a child. It's some of my favorite parts of this movie, through videotapes that her mom had, and you just see all the different times. McKenna Grace actually plays her as she plays young Madison and throughout the movie, and it's just through videotapes mostly, but that is probably my favorite scenes of the movie. She's great. I love her and everything. So she, again, played this part perfectly. I love watching her grow and watching her act throughout the years, and this is no exception. And the kills in this movie are just brutal, man. Like, some of the most brutal kills I have seen all year long. I mean, it was really, really up to par. But I love the storyline and how this story, it's, like I said in the beginning, it's very, very unique. I've never seen anything like this. And I love how she's seeing all these murders and they're trying to figure out why, and the investigation throughout. You know, this could have went very wrong. It could have, with the investigation, that could have really kind of bogged the story down, but it really didn't. The writing in this movie is really, really great. But, I do have my negatives. It does have its cheesy character moments and just some things they say throughout this movie. Some of the character choices, and like, there's two characters in this movie that have like a flirty quality to them, and I didn't really feel like it worked. And just in general, some of the actors in this movie aren't the greatest. I mean, here and there, I mean, her sister, played by Madison Heisen, I really feel like she was kind of like annoying at times. I know that seems mean, because she is really great in We Summon the Darkness that came out last year. She's really great in that, but in this movie, some of the times I just didn't feel like it really worked. But and I did say I like the CGI, but there is just some times where it looks awful. It does. Like, there's a scene where someone's getting stabbed and the blood just squirts, and you can see that it's completely CGI'd. And I was just like, come on, like I'm used to seeing with James Wan. I'm just used to seeing such great CGI, like in the Conjuring movies and in the Insidious movies, and it's just, for the most part, it looked all right. I feel like I'm talking real bad about it, but for the most part, it did look pretty good. But when it didn't, it really looked bad. There is a scene in a jail, and I'm not gonna get into it. When it's first in the jail scene, it's just dumb. Like, I felt like it was just dumb, some of the stuff that happens in the beginning of that jail scene. I mean, it goes around to be awesome, but I did like this movie. I did like this movie quite a bit. It's definitely not one of James Wan's best. For the most part, this movie, I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the story the most, and just how unique it was. I can't get over how unique this movie is. I've never seen anything like this. My score, I'm gonna go with a 73%. It didn't all come together for me. But, if you like what I'm doing with this channel, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at NelsonReviews. Follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.